What's going on, fam? You don't know who you are?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I mean, now I can, but it totally went out. We're gonna have to do it over.
Oh my god. Well,
Don't end the broadcast.
I'm not gonna end it. I'm not gonna end it. Let me go. Let me know. All right, here we go.
It was like when you started the music, your mic went out.
That's crazy. Okay.
Let's try again.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's good? What's good, fam? It's Fam Matters here. We're doing our thing. Emmett, and who are you? What's your name? Again?
I'm Jess.
You're Jess. That's it? I mean, don't you mean Dr. Young Brown?
Dr. Jessica Young Brown, if you want to be official with it, you know.
Yes. Do you know why? Because, once again, we are qualified, but our opinions, not so much. That's how we do. That's how we get down. It's Fam Matters, and we are glad that you're here with us again. Thank you so very much for showing us all the love. Haven't you felt the love, just the love?
I mean, I really still can't get over that people actually like listening to our foolishness. I mean, we certainly enjoy our foolishness, which is why we persist. But the fact that other people are rolling with us, it just makes my heart glad.
It's crazy because we're knuckleheads, really. At heart.
I mean, complete idiots is really what it boils down to. Educated, but idiots nonetheless.
Hey, that was the perfect thing. Perfect thing, right? The perfect thing. We were talking the other day because that's just what we do. So this is the reality. You are only letting on a piece of our conversations.
Yeah, this is the part that couldn't be publicized, which says a lot about us. But here we are.
We were talking the other day, and so first of all, I'm definitely I'm really excited for you, and you can obviously tell our fam, tell the Fam Matters fam out there how much you want to or whatever, but you're making some really big moves in your life. That's really awesome.
I am.
You're getting a new house, and celebrating that. We are sincerely celebrating that, right? But you had me. I literally almost drove off the road.
I don't even remember what I said. What did I say?
Well, the documents you were reading. So first, I need to let you know, no one in the world reads the closing documents.
That's not accurate because I read my closing documents.
Yes, does. All right. You read these things. No one else reads them like you. You are laser focused in reading these documents. So of course, now this particular part though, because when you sent it to me, I was like, okay, this was not in the weeds. This was clearly something that you were meant to see. And so please recount to
okay, y'all. So I'm buying a house.
People, go ahead. Let them know.
Right. I'm buying a house. I don't know that we said this explicitly on the podcast, but I'm divorced, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm buying a house by myself. And I'm going through my closing documents. And on the deed of trust, which is the thing that says who owns the house, guess what it says as the owner? Jessica Young Brown, comma, an unmarried woman.
Boom. Right there. Boom. An unmarried woman. I feel like you have the letter. What's that? The scarlet letter on you?
The scarlet letter. That's what it felt like.
Woman. Is that going to
be unmarried? They might as well have said harlot and sinner. I mean, what the?
Well, that's
anyway.
You're a sinner. You're a sinner. All right.
I'm not a harlot though. I am a sinner. But I'm a sinner saved by grace. Can I get an amen?
Yes, you've been a sinner.
Anyway, so back to the Commonwealth of Virginia being trash. So I'm an unmarried woman. On the deed of trust for the home I'm buying my hard-earned money.
Hard-earned money. Put that out there. And
Jessica Young Brown.
An
unmarried woman.
You're an unmarried woman. You are not fit in the eyes of the Commonwealth of Virginia to really own this house without that's a caveat. That is
It's a
like that's an
caveat.
addendum. It is. It
She's
is
got
that
the money, but she's unmarried.
he's unmarried.
So me being the person that I am, I take a screenshot of it and send it to my realtor. And I'm like, are they for serious? And yes, I said for serious with my PhD having self.
You did.
So I said, are they for serious? And she sends me back, yes, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, they are for serious. So there's some kind of obscure law in the state of Virginia. Let's say I was married but separated from my husband, and buying a house alone.
Yeah. I mean,
in the state of Virginia, that husband, regardless of whether he's on the deed, regardless of whether he's on the mortgage, theoretically could come and assert his right to that property. It's not going to make sense. What you're doing right now is trying to make it make sense, and it doesn't make sense. So that's a fool's errand.
So, wait a minute. There are those
he ain't got no skin in the game.
No skin in the game.
He's not on the deed.
Divorce, right? Divorce.
But if I had the argument is if I had a legal husband,
we
were estranged, right?
Okay, right.
If I had a legal husband, even we were estranged, he could come and assert his right to the property. So it says an unmarried woman to certify basically that there's no man who can swoop in and try to take my house from me.
So really what it says is that in the Commonwealth of Virginia, when you are married, you are in essence still considered property. You are still considered
there you go.
To be attached to this.
If you are a married woman,
if you're married,
you are still considered property.
Being unmarried,
and you do not retain your own rights.
Actually, I kind of like that, because now what it really says is I have agency. I'm somebody. I'm unmarried, but I'm somebody. You know, isn't that what it kind of? That's what the Commonwealth is saying. That
me buying my house isn't enough. Y'all have to put that I'm an unmarried woman on my deed.
It's not. Don't you know that women need to stay in their place? All right, and that is just. So, right.
I already said a-hole in the first episode of the podcast, and I'm really trying not to curse anymore.
Well, you know, I'm just being facetious. I'm being absolutely facetious.
I know you are.
How ridiculous is this? It's stupid. This is one of the reasons why I got the H out of the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's done. I didn't even know that. I mean, in all seriousness, in all fairness, you know, that just it. On so many different levels we can attack this, like for real, and we should attack this on so many different levels. Just the idea that even on the books, right, and there are people in these places, you know, in the Commonwealth, certainly in governor's office, mayor's office, you know, all over the state, whatever, you know, mostly I would say, that would understand this is absolutely ridiculous, right?
This is
just stupid. So why is it actually still on the books now?
Well, get this.
Go ahead. No, I was
telling my.
Stop with trying to be polite, all right? But no, so real quick, because I know your point is most likely much more valid than mine. It's like, see, you almost messed me up. I almost forgot it. It's like saying that though says, you know, no one can take this from me. You know, okay, you know, yes, you're an unmarried woman. It really feels like a scarlet letter. But on the other side, it's like, okay, yeah, this is mine, and I don't need that, you know, validation. It doesn't have to be said, no, but that's kind of what it is. You know, this is your house. No one else can lay claim to it.
Yeah, that's the function it serves, right? But I think, you know, I'm prone to like philosophical, so I'm trying not to do that right now.
There we go.
I think it's problematic when we live in a society where a woman's marital status is even relevant, right? Because what should be relevant is that my name is the only one on the deed and the mortgage. Like that should be enough information, right? And to your point about the fact that the law is even still on the books. So, you know, because you were literally on the phone with me when I read it for the first time, and I was like enraged. So I had a therapy appointment later that day, and I was like, girl, let me tell you. And she was like, well, you know, in the state of Virginia, there's also a law still on the books that says that a man can take his wife to the courthouse and beat her on Sundays.
Really? Oh my gosh. Really?
So basically, Virginia is
Wow.
living in the 1850s, is what this boils down to.
So I feel like I can make a pretty good business off of that. Like just, vans, vehicles for,
Here we go.
vehicles. Yeah.
Here
So
we go.
if that's you, if you need your wife to have a good beating on Sunday morning, just call my van service. I will come and pick you up and drive you to the courthouse. You can beat your lady right there on the court steps.
I
$10
mean, it's
a ride.
just
Just $10.
the
Just
fact
$10.
that in 2022 we're
2022.
still dealing with this kind of stuff is
2022.
really
It's stupid. It's
this
dumb.
country is a dumpster fire.
But everything you've said, obviously, I absolutely agree with. I know a couple of guys who are going through divorces right now, and one of them had his own business. His wife did not help him out with the business at all, right? At all, and I mean, I could go into so many other things, but in the divorce, she wants half of the business, right? And it's just like he's real cool, he's real even kill. He's like, look, I just want it to be like, with all the stuff that we have, just half. She takes that, goes her way, I go my way. But he feels a certain kind of way, and he should. And even in telling me this, he's never raised his voice, but he feels some kind of way about the fact that she's trying to get half of the business that he started, he owns, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like trying to lay claim. And while these things happen, it still it still does not mean, right? And that's from the other perspective. It still does not mean that one should be marked, especially a woman should be marked, for that, because you have people that just act stupid when you go through, separations and divorces and all that kind of stuff. That's idiotic. And if you have been, even if you've been separated, in that process of going that route, shouldn't there be something else in place outside of this kind of mark that should protect a
And the
person that's doing
reality
it?
is, what people don't realize is if you're dealing with a divorce that is contested,
Mhm.
it's actually super expensive and very
It
difficult.
is.
Like, we were
It is.
blessed that we had
I
a
didn't know that.
very cordial divorce.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
to the point that people were like, y'all get along really well for two people who not finna be married anymore. And we do.
Right.
Like, so that,
Yeah. Mhm.
we talked about, because I'm a business owner, and we talked about, okay, what is this going to look like? We bought a
Mhm.
house together, but we were blessed to really be on good terms. But especially if you think about somebody that's leaving an abusive marriage, or there's a domestic violence situation, regardless of who the aggressor is, like, to have that official divorce
Yeah.
actually can take a very long time and can be very expensive if you're
Very.
dealing with somebody that wants to fight you tooth and nail. And so
Yeah.
there are some people that choose to just leave and start their life before they can afford an official divorce. And I just think about how vulnerable those people are in this kind of system.
It's crazy. I didn't know. You're absolutely right. I didn't know until my friend started telling me about it. I had no idea just how crazy and messy and expensive. Well,
Yeah.
not
I
how
know
crazy and
somebody
messy,
who's
but expensive.
spent
Yeah.
$30,000 on a divorce and it's still not
Yeah.
finalized.
And
And get
not to
this, if
mention,
a man was in that same situation, he would not have that, because the woman can't
no,
stake that same claim to his house. So
no.
that's how you know the law is
Yeah, of course it's
unjust.
skewed. Of course it is. It always is. It always is. Um, I know it's crazy.
But
So
anyway, this unmarried woman's about to be a homeowner, y'all.
hey, a married woman, but she a homeowner.
I might
Oh,
change that to my Twitter name, Jessica
I think
Young
I
Brown,
think
an
I said
unmarried
that. I think
woman.
at unmarried woman. I think you should. That's a great podcast for you to start on your own, and let me be your guest. A married guy. At married guy. So, like real quick, we should definitely approach that topic. We have to approach that topic one day, Christian divorce, right? Because the two it would
Yes.
seem like an oxymoronic phrase, but it absolutely happens. And I would
Absolutely. Happens all the
jump out
time.
there and say that you all's divorce, while you guys really aren't Christians,
We are Christians.
you all are Christians, and yet you got a divorce, and here you are. I'm not going to say you don't feel a certain kind of way about it, because we talked about that, and that's for you to share and all that. But the fact that you did it right, and you're still Christian. God still loves you. It's
Yeah, I
it's it's,
believe
it's
so.
possible and it's doable. It's absolutely doable. It's okay. It's all right.
So somehow I knew that you were gonna go here today. Like I had
Really?
forgotten about I have forgotten about the unmarried woman piece. But I was actually thinking about this yesterday,
Sorry.
and I was thinking, yeah,
Oh,
silence your
nothing.
phone. This is really important.
I have it on vibrate, but it's just it's the table.
Well,
I'm
maybe you
sorry. I
should take it
need
off
to
the
put it over
table.
here. My
Like that's
bad.
basic.
My
Anyway,
bad.
but I was thinking about like I think a lot of people, and we did too, struggle with divorce in the Christian context
Mhm.
because nobody gets married thinking they're going to get a divorce. And it certainly wasn't a decision we took lightly. We were married for almost a
Mhm.
decade.
Mhm.
But I also, one of the things that I talk about a lot when I'm talking about faith and mental health that I think is really relevant here is the John 10:10 passage where Jesus says, "The enemy
Mhm.
came to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come that they might have life and have it more abundantly." And I think for some people, having life more abundantly means realizing that the decisions you made in the past will no longer serve you.
Mm. Wow. Mm.
And so
That's
I don't think God is honored by a marriage where two people are miserable. Like I
mm.
just don't I don't believe that. But I think churches don't do a good job of talking about that piece of it. And in
Ooh.
fact, a lot of churches, this ain't even what we say we're
I
going to talk
know.
about
Just
today.
right.
But a lot of churches, I mean, sort of have singles in a holding pattern such that if you're single, it means you're waiting for marriage,
Mhm.
as opposed to living your
Single
life
life.
and
You
living
just live your
according
life.
to the way God has called you,
Right.
right? And marriage is not the only way for you to live a life that honors God.
So real quick, we just we do this all the time, and we do it without the
Tangent
virtue of a
after tangent.
camera. So we
Yeah.
every now and then will forget that this is like, for the world. So fanmatterspod@gmail.com. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Fan Matters. And hit us up, all that good stuff. Like I said, Fan Matters Pod. You just saw the scroll, fanmatterspod@gmail.com. Give us topics, gospel grapevine. That is the things that you need to hear from us, all that good stuff.
Mhm.
We didn't even do like news you can use yet, anything like that. And then useless
Basically, this
news.
is a free for
Yeah,
all. And
it's a free
so
for
just
all.
email
Yes,
us anything and we'll
anything.
probably talk about it on the podcast.
So
Unless
fan
I mean,
matters.
there are
Yeah,
probably some limits, but we won't know until we reach them.
we won't know. We definitely going to test those limits. Fanmatterspod@gmail.com. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video, please. Smash that like button
That's
for me.
so weird.
Just
You
do
do
it.
that.
That was weird. Was that really weird? Sorry.
But
You'll be
you're
okay.
not sorry.
For all those that are listening to us, thank you. Continue to hit us up on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podvine, all those places that you get your podcasts, except for Apple Podcasts, apparently, because they don't like us. We,
I
we
was
haven't
about to
got
ask
listed
you what was
yet.
happening with
It
the
takes forever to get on Apple Podcasts. You have to already be famous and have like 80,000 subscribers. If you have the
Okay,
10
well.
people that we have, then you ain't getting on there. But we not
Well, that's
yet.
all
We
right.
will be on there. We
We will
will
be on
be on
there.
there. We will be
And
on
y'all
there.
check out our YouTube channel so you can see us. We make a lot of faces at each other that
I
if
just
you're
did.
just listening,
I just
you
did.
miss.
Yeah, well,
I
exactly.
can repeat
So,
it
oh,
for
I'm sorry, my
emphasis.
bad. Well, no, you can't because you're an unmarried woman and you need to, you need to stay in your place. I'm sorry.
I hate you.
Oh my gosh, Lord have mercy. All right, all right, all right. So back to the business at hand, right?
Yes,
You we don't have any news that you can use today. We do
no, we
probably have
don't.
some
It's a
useless
hot
news.
mess.
And I think the piece of useless news that I had, it's not really useless though. It's really not useless. Um, well, I think it is. It's useless. Yeah, it's useless.
Are you going to share or you just can keep
I'm
saying
not,
it's useless?
the piece of useless news that I have is that I don't have anything to say. I have nothing. I have nothing. I don't have anything. I thought I had something, but I don't. I just don't. Mm-mm, I don't.
Okay. Well,
Do you have any
would you like
useless
to
news?
move on? No, I don't have anything.
You don't have anything? You always have a piece of uselessness that, can be shared. No?
Silence.
Ouch. Cricket. That was really crickets. Ouch. Do you
I
are,
wish we had a cricket sound effect right
are
there. That
you
would
in
be
your
great.
are you in your feelings? Is that
No,
what
I'm
it
not in
is?
my feelings. I'm just trying to figure out where this is going.
I don't
Maybe
I,
like
this,
we really lost our way here.
it happens every now and then. It does. This is what happens when with regular
That's
people and you
true.
put us in a podcast, give us a podcast.
I
This is what
mean, it's true.
happens.
It's yeah,
This is
we're a mess.
so real quick shout out to my man Mikey Young and his crew that do a podcast. It's called the Brown Liquor Report. You definitely want to check it out. So on Spotify, other places you get podcasts. It's a really good podcast. I'm saying that because we were talking about it as we were setting up ours, and I reached out to him to give me some pointers and all that kind of stuff. And he was talking about their first podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, those are locked in a vault. No one will ever again." So I
We
think
might
this,
feel
this
this way about
this
these episodes in
right,
a little
this might
while.
make the vault. So if you don't catch this now, if you don't get what you will never hear this again.
Yeah, a
It will
limited
not be out there for
time.
you.
We're gonna make feel like this didn't happen at some point.
We were talking about trying to figure out, what to talk about. Um,
Mhm.
I am always like, first of all, I'm getting older. I don't really care that much about social media. You make
That's
jokes
an
about.
understatement.
Yeah, it's true. It's just true. I don't. I'm
Y'all,
letting
his
Zen know.
picture on his Facebook page is literally from like almost 10 years ago.
It's not that far. And first of all, I'm about to get my because it's not that far back. That's number one. It's from like 2017, 2018. Thank you very much.
Okay,
All right.
5 years ago.
And honestly, it's a great picture of me. I look phenomenal as I always do. But I'm not gonna lie, the pandemic has packed on a few pounds. So that was before then. So just look at me then. All right.
Dang.
Look at me then. Don't worry about me now. Look at me then. Okay.
I'm gonna
So
go
that's
pull
all I
up
have to
your
say about
Facebook
that.
picture.
That's all I got to say about that. We were talking about things that we could talk about, and so I'm like, I have no idea, I don't know what's going on, and you were like, what about Juanita Bynum? That's because that's how you sound in my
I
mind. What about
do not
Juanita
sound like
Bynum?
that at all.
You sound just like wah, 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 wah. You sound just like that every now and then,
You're
right? Every
so
now and
rude.
then. So Juanita Bynum, I didn't know this, and you kicked it to me.
Because you live under a rock.
I live under a rock. You kicked it to me. Can you please share with our fan faithful about this Juanita Bynum?
Fam faithful. I
Yeah, that's
like
dope.
that.
I know.
Is that
I
what
know.
we're gonna call our stands?
Are you kidding me?
Uh,
First of all, we don't have stands. No
we
stands.
might. We could get some stands.
We could get some stands, right?
The fam faithfuls.
And I know what that means now. So thank you. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, our good sis, our beloved Juanita Bynum,
Beloved.
um,
Mm.
is hosting a 4-week prayer intensive for the low price of $1,500.
It came down some. It came
It
down
came
some.
down. There's a cut.
Came
Original
down.
price was $2,000.
I'm sorry, Jess.
So,
$14.99.99. Thank you.
all right. The original price was $2,000. So you're getting it 25% off, Saints. It's a steal.
That's a steal. That's really a steal. I'm glad
And
you did the math in your head that quick, or did you know that before?
it's easy.
I didn't. I wouldn't have been able to produce that quickly. Terrible at math. So we got. So she's putting it out there, 25% off, $14.99.99, $1,500. You gotta stay with me. So she's putting it out there, right? And this is all the things that you get. This is all the things that you get in the package. This is stupid. It's oh my god, it's stupid. You get a 2-hour intensive, 7 sessions.
7
You
sessions.
get a Q&A at the end of each intensive. You get a Prayer Institute tote bag. You get the Prayer Institute binder that I can get from Walmart for $1.
I bet the tote bag is really nice.
You get the exclusive Prayer Institute journal. And once again, another thing I can get from Walmart for like $1.50. The Prayer Institute certificate,
It's probably
which
a
is
nice journal.
I think that the cottonelle I have in my bathroom is probably, more sought after than that. And then you get the mantling of a full prayer shawl. I did just say what I said. The mantling of a full
By
prayer
Dr.
shawl
Bynum.
by Dr. Bynum. Oh. Now this is
And
I'm
you
gonna tell
get
you
some
right now.
oil.
This is what I'm gonna pay the $1,500 for the oil. All right, because
It's
oil is
sacred
expensive.
anointing oil.
Yeah, the sacred anointing oil.
I
And
bet
with that
it's
oil, how
extra
big is
virgin olive oil from the mountains of Greece.
number one? Don't hate on EVOO. Number
I'm not.
two,
It's good
it's been
for it's
blessed.
good for anointing oil. Yeah,
I
it's
want to know how
anointing
much you
oil.
get though. I want to know how much you get because if it's like this vial like this, like no one
It's
is
probably a
touching it.
small vial
It's a small vial. But if I get something a little
for
bigger,
only emergency
I'm
situations.
I'm putting it on everything. I'm gonna put it on my TVs. I'm gonna put it on the
Why would you
ironing
put
board.
anointing oil
I'm
on
gonna
your
put oil
TV?
on my couches. I'm gonna put it on the china cabinets. I'm putting oil everywhere. You know why? Because it's sacred and it's blessed, and I
That
want my
means your
home to
whole
be
house will be
blessed.
sacred.
Yes, Lord.
So, and it also has limited seating.
Do you
So,
do you want to start? Do you want to do this? Or
so I
we
think
can
you
do
can start because I wouldn't call this a devil's advocate, but I have a different perspective that I want to bring in. So you can start.
Take the screen now for me? I just I
Taking it now.
feel I feel attacked by this nonsense. I'm attacked. So like I'm over people that have been out there that are always trying to jump back in to the arena. And here's the thing, in her mind, she would probably say she really hasn't gone away.
I was
And that's
gonna
a
say,
bad
has she
thing.
gone away?
Well, yeah, she really hasn't gone away. I mean, like,
Hmm.
out of mainstream conversation and stuff, but in the church world, certainly she hasn't, right? And even
Yeah.
though most of us want her to, I mean, from the No More Sheet stuff that somebody could say was actually valid, to the TD Jake stuff, and then to her marriage, which was a sham, the beating, which was not, and then just her being generally messy. The last piece, I think the last piece that I remember that she was out there about was a few years ago where a pastor and his wife had invited her to come and share, and
It was in Hampton Roads, Virginia.
it was in Hampton Roads, right? And so, and while the case, I don't believe the pastor had any kind of bad intention. There might have been something he should have done a little differently,
Yeah, he
but
was
he
inappropriate, but she also made it a bigger deal.
I don't even,
Yeah.
but I don't even saying it was inappropriate. I think is a bridge too far. I mean, would I have done it? No,
Mm,
but inappropriate. I mean, really?
I think
That's
based
putting it
upon
into
if what she said, and we won't go down that rabbit hole, but if what she says he actually did, I think he was inappropriate. I think the way she chose to air it out,
that was dirty. It was messy.
it
It
was
was
messy.
messy.
And she kind of has a reputation for like being messy and high maintenance.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I think it just like continued to feed into this narrative that she's difficult to work with. She's extra. She's this. She's that.
And for what she's supposed to be bringing, I'm sorry, you all. If I wanted an entertainer, then I would probably get an entertainer of higher caliber than her. I mean, what she brings is buffoonish, and that's just what it is.
I mean, but I think there are lots of people who would argue that. I mean, I'm not a follower of her ministry necessarily, and I don't. A lot of her theology I don't agree with, but I think there are a lot of people who really view her as somebody who's been like a pathway to deliverance for them. So I don't want to take that away from
Mm,
her necessarily.
a pathway
Um,
to deliver. I mean,
yeah, like I know somebody who says that they went to a service where she was preaching and she laid hands on them and they were healed. Like I literally know someone in my life who says that. So, I mean, but this is complicated, right? Because there's like the spiritual side of a person's ministry and then there's also the business side of it. And people have a lot of complicated ideas about how that should be managed. But she got a lot of flack for this in particular because it's like you charging people $1,500 to teach them how to pray. We don't
So
like, since when do we need
she's
guidance
a
on that?
serial knucklehead. That's what it is. Over and over and over and over again. If somebody shows you who they are, believe
Mm.
them. That's what it is. How many times are you going to continue to hoodwink the people into this nonsense? I mean, tell me, please tell me when Jesus was hawking prayer shawls. Tell me when Jesus was like, get your anointing oil for only $15. I mean, tell me when you had the best pen. I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. And I don't want to hear about it's 2022. It's business. No, I don't want to hear this nonsense, because you're right. You're absolutely right. There are people out there that are looking for something, that believe that she has some kind of
You're right.
invested and imbued power by the Holy Spirit of healing. But what has she done? She has taken that and she has literally put it out there for commodification, and that to me is absolutely despicable. It's despicable.
I definitely think that, and it's not just her, I think there are a lot of people who will fall in this category who probably start out with what is like an authentic ministry model. And let me say this, I think that preachers should be compensated in a way that is
Yeah,
commensurate with what they do, right? So this,
sure.
for me, isn't about them getting money, but I think
The way,
she
the way
the
it should be
method
the way.
matters. The method matters. And the fact that you're charging this people this much money for something that, like, this is not like some kind of complicated skill that you're talking about,
It's not.
right? And I think it also reinforces this message that is totally against a Protestant mission, that people need to jump through some kind of hoops to get access to God. Like, for me, it's less problematic that she's having an event that she's charging $1,500 for than the topic itself. Because if you were talking about something that actually requires some expertise, sure, charge $1,500. People do it all the time. But I think the fact that it was this topic was really problematic. That being said, I want to bring another perspective into this
Wait,
that I
wait,
really
wait.
hadn't considered.
Wait,
Go
wait.
ahead.
Before you do that, though, because and maybe you can make something out of this. 'Cause I just thought about this, right? I don't know how much the tickets were, so you can probably think that an entertainer like Chris Brown is going to bring 150 bucks.
Chris Brown
You
was
know,
charging
wait,
$1,000
wait,
for the
wait,
meet and greet.
you
Sorry.
took my stuff. I was about to say that. Stop taking my stuff. Ugh, you're too smart for your own darn good sometimes. Cut it out. Our
Y'all hear
ESP is
how he's
too
talking
tough,
to me?
huh?
And this rude. You've been rude to me 2 podcasts in a row.
I love you though. I
I
don't know
just
how
wanted
much he
to.
was charging for. I don't know how much he was charging for the ticket, but that's what I was about to say. Just
Sorry.
is that
Sorry.
$1,000 for the meet and greet. So you already paid the ticket price. $1,000 for the meet and greet. I mean, you probably get more out of those two things because he's going to put a show on than this
Oh
fifteen
yeah, he
hundred
can put a show
dollars
on.
and the shawl and all that kind of stuff. I mean, come on, come on, go ahead. I don't know what
Okay,
to
so
make
here's
about
the
that.
other piece. But here's somebody's gonna pay it. Here's the other piece
Yeah,
that I really didn't think about when I was first talking trash about her, but I think is really an interesting one. So Melva Sampson, she's on faculty at Wake Forest School of Divinity, I believe, and she does a lot of work kind of centering around creating digital theological spaces. So anyway, she put this post up about this whole debacle, which I thought was really interesting. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's long, but so basically, she's talking about a couple things. One is that in Black church ministry, there's a pay gap between women and men, and women have been forced to kind of fill the gap there, right? So she's basically making the argument that for a lot of Black women, a part of this process is like getting what they're due in terms of the spiritual labor that they put into their ministry. The other thing she says, which I think is fair, is that if it was the same topic and it was a different person, like if this was a TD Jakes offering the same exact offering, would the criticism be the same?
For me, it would be yes.
But for a lot
Mm.
of people, maybe not. The other thing that she said, which I think is fair, is that like there are a lot of people who don't have access to the more like traditional accredited models of training. So like let's say this is somebody who feels the call to ministry. Maybe they don't have us to a seminary or a Bible college, but they do this instead. Right. So I'm not saying any of that absolves her. And Melva Sampson wasn't saying this either. But I think she makes a fair point about like the culture that we exist in terms of church and like all of the different factors that even lead to something like this being possible.
Okay, I certainly take the point of the male dominated space. Yeah, that I mean, I'm just glad we're really thinking about that now because
Mm-hmm.
probably wouldn't have said that before. Probably wouldn't have brought that point up before. But and it's true. It is true.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Saying that,
I mean,
you
I
know,
still think it's trash,
you know it.
but
I'm not. I there is nothing to redeem her in my mind. That's me. When I say I mean redeem her from being in that buffoon category that I put her in. I'm not talking about soul redemption, nothing like that. This is strictly my opinion. Okay. And my
mm-hmm.
opinion is that for too long, she's fleeced people. Period. You have the gift, but you fleece people. The same thing we were talking about we were talking about that with Jamal Bryant. That we can
Mm-hmm.
continue to talk about that. Someone who has gotten chance after chance after chance, and it's still high in the spotlight. All right, it's the same kind of thing. She just does it, and she's able to do it. She's had access to do it with the Word Network, with TBN, these other places that continually hawk her crap or allow her to hawk her crap on there. That just but here's the other piece, Jess, that troubles me. It is valid. Can I say this? Valid Christian discipleship, maybe.
Mm.
That when you talking about the I can't quote the actual passage. I'm a paraphrase it. Please forgive me, all you theologians and Bible scholars out there. All right, but the idea that there are sheep in wolves' clothing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that you ought to know the word for yourself. Does that mean that you can't listen to a preacher and be motivated, inspired, challenged, critiqued, chastised, corrected? Absolutely not. You should be able to, because that's what good preaching does. But in our
Absolutely.
churches and local areas and ministries, we have too many people that have fallen by the wayside, or the local spot is not really doing the job of discipleship. And so what do people do? They run to listen to this nonsense, and they
But
get
I would
caught
say
up.
that I think it's even deeper than that in the sense that
Even then, I guess I didn't go deep enough. Huh.
some people build allegiances to some of these religious leaders in ways that are unhealthy because
Why does it have to be deeper though? Can that just be like? Can I just be on the same level? It's got to be deeper. I'm a little upset about that.
it's not deeper, it's beside it. Is that better?
I feel like you're othering me. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Othering you? What are you talking about?
I
Oh
always
my
want to
God.
use that phrase. All right, go ahead.
You
Go
didn't
ahead.
use it correctly.
I did.
God bless you. This is a train wreck. I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, I
Yeah.
think people like build allegiances. Jamal Bryant is a great example. It goes back to what we were talking about last week. Well, and it's every other week, but last episode
There you go.
around the reality is if a man can preach and he good looking, he gets a pass, right? And Jamal Bryant is a perfect example of that. You talk about somebody with a messy, messy, messy life,
You think Jamal
and
Brown looks
he's
good?
I
Yeah,
don't, but people
yeah.
do. I mean, a lot of people do. I don't find him personally attractive, but I'm sure he doesn't care about that. So enough women find him attractive, right? That he's been able to
Additional
get
power.
by like virtually unscathed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think too, I get what you're saying. I mean, obviously, when you're in those positions, of power and influence. It really doesn't. You could look like a mud duck. It doesn't matter. Just you're in that place. You have that position, and people just
And
flock
people
to it.
are attracted
You're
to
attracted to it. Yeah.
power. And
Mm-hmm.
I think they're attracted to the I was gonna say the illusion, but that's not true. I think they're attracted to the perception of closeness to God, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds weird to say it that way, but as a preacher, like I
Mm-hmm.
think there are people who are just attracted to the idea that you might be like a higher spiritual being.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I try to, even a pastor, to try to get over to people, and I'm going to be as I don't think it's crass. You can maybe call it crass, but I put on my drawers one leg at a time, like everybody
That
else.
is crass.
Unless I'm able
There
to
were
by
so
some
many other sayings
crazy
that were right there besides putting on
acrobatic
drawers.
exercise, be able to put my drawers on two legs at a time, like and be the only one that can do that, then fine, wonderful. It's the idea that, right, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Whether it's the deeper the side, whatever, you're right. Okay, you're right, and that is, people do that. And here's also where I think it still loops back around to the responsibility, the personal
Yes,
responsibility
you're
that is
exactly right.
heaped upon leaders in these institutions, in faith institutions, and even other organizations. But we're talking about faith institutions, to say, stop looking at me like that is not who I am. Do I hear from the Lord? Yes, I do. But guess what? I am a person just like you are. I mess up just like you. So don't look at the vessel, look at the one who's in the vessel.
But I think what we have to deal with is that for a lot of these leaders, it's about ego.
Yes.
And so the
Yes.
idea of getting their ego stroked is more attractive than actually admitting that they're a human being.
It's the Lee Curtis syndrome, right? It's
It's
the Lee
Lee
Curtis
Curtis
syndrome.
syndrome.
Lee Curtis syndrome. And in that syndrome, you're even then able to take it, actually consciously take advantage of other people.
Yeah.
Which to me brings me back around, boom, to your girl.
No, I think she's definitely
Bam.
taking advantage. And even if you look at some of the stuff that she's been popular for, it's the shock value, right? Like No
It
More
is.
Sheets, you knew what you were doing.
You did. Now, there are those who would say that that was probably the most valid thing that she did, especially at that time, because no one was talking like that.
Yeah, true.
Women weren't talking like that. All right. And don't forget now, when No More Sheets came out, we did not have the proliferation of women ministers that we do now. And the only reason I'm making that,
Right.
is saying because that's what we're talking about. For me, I don't care who you are. But back then, she did that, and no woman was doing that, and they weren't talking like that. So
That's true.
and if TD Jakes can get credit for Woman Thou Art Loosed, then she should absolutely get credit for No More Sheets. Absolutely. Which was to me even better,
Mm.
because this is something that you lived through and dealt with, and you are absolutely seeking to help others get out of that cycle. Okay, I'm with that. I'm good. You know what? You could have gone ahead and kept on going to conferences and places you were invited to in a sheet or whatever that very whatever she was wearing that didn't show anything. But no, what happened was, you got the money and you started being fly, and your head started getting big. You went to bigger
Mm.
places and bigger places and all that, and you became a preaching celebrity. I'm talking to you, Bynum. You became a celebrity. It filled your head up and blew your head up. And guess what? You also found out that you really weren't separated from the foolishness and nonsense that can happen when you enter into relationship and covenant relationship with somebody who you shouldn't be with. That's a whole nother topic.
A whole nother topic. I
So
think there's, to
wait a
your
minute, I wasn't
point.
finished my rant. I
Oh, I'm
wasn't
sorry.
you was talking to Bynum there. You just messed it up. All right, go ahead.
No,
Go
continue
ahead.
your rant.
No, I'm done.
It'll
I'm done. I don't even feel the rant anymore. I'm done. I guess it was the spirit.
There's so much drama happening right now.
It is. It is. I'm in my feelings because
I
good. I can't take this anymore, Jess.
Tell us how you feel. Don't
I
hold
I
back.
don't I just I feel like you're just roughshotting over me in this episode, and I just wanted to put that out there because I want agency. That's all. I don't want to be othered.
Again, not the appropriate use of that term.
What were you about to say?
Oh no, I forgot. Oh, I was gonna talk about the other thing that I think happens when people sort of lose their way is like you start doing stuff that doctrinally don't make no sense. Like there are a lot of people talking about the fact that the whole prayer shawl thing is like not even a Christian tradition.
It's not. It's not.
So
It's not.
it's like,
And
what are
yet
you
people keep
doing?
selling them. People
Oh, we
keep
should call this
buying them.
episode "No More Prayer Shawls."
No more prayer shawl. That's what it should be. Instead of Iggas be Iggin, it
We'll
should
say
be
Iggas be Iggin is evergreen. Okay, we can
Iggas
come
be
back to
Iggin
that.
evergreen. No more prayer shawls. That is the official name of this episode. No more prayer shawl.
It's a mess.
Um,
She's a hot mess. She
Fan
really
Matters
is.
Pod, fanmatterspod at gmail.com. Send us comments, hit us up, please. I know that probably going to somebody listening to this and like, I'm definitely about to try to fire that Bama up. He talking about my why I need to buy them. And that's just what it is. Subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel, like the video, smash that like button. We appreciate that so very much. I just can't I can't deal with what I perceive. And one, as I said before, this is my opinion. I can't deal with what I perceive is a fakeness when it comes
Mm,
to ministry, right? It's, we were talking about it the other day. It's serious, it's service. There's a lot of humility that is supposed to be involved. Do you have to, do you have to be broke? No, you don't have to. No one is saying that, right? Even when we deal with the Bible and being very careful about how we interpret things, understanding that that was a long time ago and there was a particular culture, and we're not in that kind of culture. It's a different culture, but don't tell me that there aren't principles there and we can absolutely apply to. And some of the stuff that I see, and this is one of the reasons why I get so upset about it. Some of the stuff I see, it's just like, nah, that's it's too much. It's just going too far. Like I said, you don't have to be poor. That's not what it's about. It's about the authenticity of what you're doing, the ministry. And it just, like, you just talk about prayer shawls. Really? No. Why am I selling you anointed oil? For real? Seriously?
I think the sad part is like I think she's genuinely gifted and anointed, but in an attempt to try to stay relevant, she's lost her way. And that's the part that's sad. Because, I also, I used to crack all the time on Peter Popoff and his ketchup packets of holy water, right? So like I think there's and yes, I used to call them that. But like I
It's
think
just-
there's who is the people, Jim and Tammy Baker? Is that their
oh
name?
yeah, yeah,
Like I
yeah,
think there's
yeah.
that whole thread of televangelism and the way it intersects with capitalism has
Mm,
done a doozy on Christianity. And it's
absolutely.
connected to
Yeah.
prosperity gospel, is connected to, in many circumstances, I won't say every single one just because I'm hedging my bets here, but like the whole mega church frame. You look at people like Creflo Dollar, like I
Mm,
think there's just all these ways that people who are genuinely, I would argue, gifted and called by God have lost their way when the lights turn on.
mm, yes, they have. I don't. There's. You could literally just we could stop right there. That's the reality. They've lost their way, and we are trying to. When I say we, I think us too, the church,
Mm,
others are trying to find a way out of the muck and mire of that, because the mega church bubble has bust, right? I mean, we're living in much different times now, where churches are, how do I say it? I mean, in essence, almost tantamount to fast food restaurants, where
mm,
you can literally visit 5 or 6 in an hour or day, and decide that that's what you're going to do, and that's it. Like, you don't have to go to church. And, I was talking about this with Carletta. The idea of having some kind of gimmick for your church or for a special day, you know, but where does that fall in line? Because you're trying to get people to come into the church, but where does that fall for those who are online? Like, you have to think differently about that these days. So saying all of that, we are trying to climb out of some of that mess, because a lot of that has hurt people. It has hurt people. It's hurt the perception of even who the church is, who believers are, to others who may not be. And here we are with our own podcast. I mean, saying, in essence, calling it out for what it is, but also saying we need to do better. We
Yeah.
have to do better. We have
I
to,
think there's still a call
because
to some integrity.
yes, it has to be, right. It has to be. It has to be, because just everybody can't have the Rolexes. Everybody can't have the cars. Everybody can't, like, where's the room for the local pastor who who she's doing her job, he's doing his job. Where's the room for the person, for that local pastor who is doing the work but still gets lumped in with everybody else, and people are throwing shade to that. And there are a lot of local pastors and preachers who you will never hear about that's doing the work. All right, that they don't care about prayer shawls or anointing. Or I'll tell you what, how about somebody brings you two big things of oil, extra virgin olive oil, from the store, and then you go upstairs into the sanctuary and put it in front of God on the altar and pray for a blessing over it. Yeah, I've done that before, because people, it's this thing where I don't even know what to say. I'm getting so full right now. The idea that there are so many who are actually doing the work that you'll never hear about, but get lumped in with the others, it upsets me. So when I see this, my mind just it's in a tizzy. Like, this is just a one-off, right? Or maybe not a one-off, but we know this exists. Don't look at this nonsense. Don't look at it. I'm out. I'm done. I'm frustrated. I get literally frustrated with this. And when I don't have any words to say,
It goes
I'm
back
done.
to what we were talking about last time about those of us who love the church being willing to stand up in what we are not, right? And to call out that which does a disservice to all of us. And let me be clear, I don't think there's anything wrong with Juanita Bynum trying to make money, because she has a life to support just like all of us do. I don't even think there's anything wrong with her asking people to support her ministry financially. But I do think that when we ask people to give their hard earned money, the product needs to be commensurate with their sacrifice. And for a lot of the people who follow her, for a lot of us, that's a whole lot of money. And I think it's capitalizing on something that may not be totally real. And she should know better.
I'm done.
Me too.
I'm done.
No
It
more prayer
frustrates me.
shawls.
What'd you say?
No more
No
prayer
way.
shawls.
No more prayer shows. fanmatterspod@gmail.com. Hit us up on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, please. We promise we will get better. We'll get better. Maybe.
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 Or it could go downhill. Either way,
Uh,
we're going to keep hopping on here and
we're,
recording and
we're,
stuff.
we're
So,
going to. Let me say too, like that, you have become moms. I don't know if you remember, like a long time ago, we were like really cutting our bobs. Like, you called her Hail Mary, full of grace, because she's so gracious. You become that. You
oh,
have
you
still
think
become
so?
that. Yeah, I know so. I know you
That's
have,
interesting.
because let me see. 2003, 2003, you would have gone. 2007, 2010, you would have gone just as hard. Kids has made you soft.
My kids have made me soft.
Kids have made you
Listen,
soft.
motherhood has
It's
humbled me.
real. It's real. It's real. It's
Look, the
real.
past couple years of my life have humbled me.
Yeah.
I
What?
think I'm also just like, even when I think somebody is wrong, I see like all of the complications, or I try to see like all the complications that got them to that. And I actually do think the vast majority of people have good intentions, even when they do really stupid things.
I'm trying to get there. I am. Maybe it'll rub off on me soon.
But I'm not finna give Juanita Bynum $1,500 to teach me how to pray.
I
I already
finna
have a
give her
binder and a
15.
journal, and I can get my mama to bless some oil. So,
Boom. There you go. There you go. FamMattersPod@gmail.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Fam Matters, and that's Fam Matters is the YouTube channel.
Fam
And
Matters
then
Pod.
I'm sorry, Fam Matters Pod is a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and then of course, so excuse me, like the video, like the videos, and we just gonna keep doing what we're doing. You know, we appreciate all the love that we've gotten. If you don't love us, you can tell us that too. Bump you, but we still
Yeah, we're
gonna
just
keep
gonna
doing.
ignore you, but you can definitely tell us.
You can tell us all. You can tell us all you want, because we love each other and we love the fan faithful. Boom, there you have it.
And we love the Black church.
You gotta love
That's
it,
awesome.
and we do, unapologetic about that. So, till the next time, this is Emmett saying peace.
Bye.